What's up, guys? Devin Patterson here with Blue Tail Bow Hunters. I am at Smith Archery and Patriot Strings with the oldest Tyler that I know.
That's right.
Tyler Smith. First of all, Tyler, thank you for allowing myself and some other members in here.
We love having you guys here, man.
So the reason we're here is because Tyler's got some new bows in. The two newest Elites, one of them being the Era, the carbon one. There's a ton of hype on it. Tyler did a video on it here, well, earlier today. It'll be released on all his stuff, so go check that out. As far as specs, all the number stuff, I'm not much of a numbers guy. I'm more of a feel guy. So I just want to take a video of me shooting not only my bow, my current setup, but also the new bows and kind of my reaction to them. Honestly, I've already shot them, and the two new Elites they're pretty slick. Ever since I met Tyler, he's been giving me a little bit of grief about me shooting the Mathews, which is fine, but I've told Tyler many times I don't care what the sticker is. As soon as he gets a bow in here that feels better for me, as in a hunting sense, I'll be more than happy to buy it. I don't care what the sticker is. So he calls me a fanboy, but that's not necessarily the case. Mathews, just the bow that I have, for me, I've not found one that feels better for me.
And you're still shooting the Vertix.
I'm still shooting the Vertix. So I've shot all the newer Mathews, the V3s, VXRs. I've not shot the Phase 4 yet, but out of all those so far, I still keep going back to the Vertix. So,
but I still keep it tuned for you.
I do. So what I want to do is I'll show you my current setup. I do have a video out on my YouTube already. I switched a few things up, but still generally the same setup. So this is my Mathews Vertix. I've been shooting it since it came out new. Obviously, this is set up to walk outside and go hunt right now. So comparing these bows, they're not going to be necessarily the same in that aspect, but still good comparison. The only thing different that I put on here since I made my video was a dialed archery sight.
Yeah, you gotta talk about that, man.
I'm really enjoying it. It took me less than probably, I don't know, less than 4 hours to get it dialed down to 60 yards at least. I've not messed around a whole lot because I got it right before hunting season, whitetail season. I went out to Idaho for an elk hunt, and I didn't have that in yet when I got back. That was in September when I got it back. It was at the house, so I dialed it down to 60, and it's been lights out, phenomenal.
So I haven't played with this one yet, so I don't have any in the shop. But my curiosity is weight wise, how does that feel on the front of the bow? Because I mean, you're not running a back stabilizer. So,
I'm not.
So how does that feel compared to your old sight?
So it's pretty comparable just because I'm used to a heavy bow. This is a heavier bow. That's why I'm excited to shoot the carbon and really put some arrows through that. But this is a heavy bow, and I can't lie. But I feel like that's part of why it's so forgiving for me on the shot. But it's a heavier sight. I would like to try running a back bar just to mess around with it, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. But that sight, I love it, and it looks good. And
to be fair about the weight of the bow, man, I mean, the bow itself is really not that stocky.
Sure.
You know, but even carbon bows, once you start adding all your accessories, it does add weight to the bow. So it all eventually, just like you sticking with the Vertix all this time, it comes down to the archer.
Sure.
You know.
Yep. So obviously, I like my black and white theme. Got the white strings, which need to be changed out to Patriot strings here soon. But this is very customizable, the dialed archery sight, a lot of different colors to mix and match. So a lot of Mathews fanboys like their colors. So I think that's why they're going to sell a lot of sights to Mathews guys. So the reason I keep sticking to this bow, especially in a hunting sense, is that when I'm in the woods, I don't like making a lot of sudden movements, jerking movements, stuff like that. I notice with a lot of bows that have a good back wall, to get to it, you have a good thud before you get to it. And with this bow, and maybe it's because I'm so used to it and I've shot it so many times, I don't feel like I have near as that. It's smooth all the way through.
Well, and that's one of the things, Devin, about any bow, any brand, it doesn't matter. If the bow does not fit the archer or the archer style, it doesn't matter what name is on the limb. It's just not the bow for you.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if it's Elite, Hoyt, Mathews, PSE, Prime, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't fit, you're not going to shoot it, you're not going to be comfortable.
I agree. And that's why I keep coming back to it. However, like I said, I've already shot these, and I'm going to shoot them again on camera just to get you guys to see the draw cycle and everything. But these Elites they're getting me to the point where I might have to put down the Vertix and get something new. So I'm going to put one arrow through this just to kind of see what I'm talking about as far as it being smooth for me. And then I'll get these other bows out. And I'm one of those guys that also shoots a really heavy arrow. We just, not really heavy. I've backed off a little bit, but I'm at 590 right now, which is more than most of your typical whitetail guys at least. So anyways, heavy arrow, I feel like it makes the bow quieter as well.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, I even...
There's no argument about it.
Sure.
It absolutely does.
Because when I first bought this Vertix, I had it at 75 pounds, and I didn't know anything about arrows. So I had a light arrow on it, and it almost sounded, I was still pretty inexperienced, but it sounded like I was almost dry firing the bow every time I shot it, and I didn't like that. So then I started learning about arrows and went super heavy, and I've kind of backed off since. But I did get like a noise recorder, and I measured 2 different types of arrows that I had, and there was a significant difference. So as far as like deer jumping strings and stuff like that, I think it helps out quite a bit. So here we go. Here's the first one. So for me, that's just so smooth. There's not a big jerk to get to that back wall. Super quiet bow, and it's hard for me to get away from that. But we're gonna try out the new ones.
But we're working on it.
We are. So the first one I'll shoot is the Elite Omnia. Again, I don't know all the number stuff. Tyler could tell you more about that while I'm pulling the arrow.
So the Omnia has a 6-inch brace height, and the IBO speed is 347. Okay, so I love IBO speed, but IBO speed doesn't matter in the woods because the bow's not set up when they're doing IBO. Okay, it's a very basic across the board setup. So, but what we have here is, we've got the new Elite micro stabilizers with the side kick on it. I love the back bar balance, especially with a little bit bigger sight. Got the engaged sight on it and the Elite QAD. So, but this bow, this is my hunting rig, 28-inch draw, 60 pounds, shooting 291. So, I mean, we've had a lot of success with this bow, and the draw cycle, in my opinion, rivals his Vertix, but that's in my hand. So what
Sure.
I keep trying to push onto him is what's going to do it in his hand.
And this was how much weight? Drawback? Weight?
60 pounds.
60 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty comparable. The Era, I believe, set at 70, so we'll talk about that when I do that. But feels good, but man, if you know, and it would probably take me shooting more, but there was that little bit of a jerk. But man, other than that, even the shot, I mean, it's stupid smooth.
Yeah,
I could see myself.
What you're talking about, to that all boils down to cam size. And cam size also helps determine weight of the bow. So sometimes the archer has to give a little on one and take a little on the other, no matter what the bow is.
Sure, and the other comparable thing is that I'm at a 29.5 draw length. Tyler's a little guy, so he's got shorter arms. So that obviously goes into that as well. That longer draw cycle, I think, it allows for more forgivability on the draw cycle. But once you're locked in, that thing just feels good in the hand, man. That's slick.
The only noise you're hearing is that arrow hitting the target.
For sure. Very quiet. And obviously, when you start adding more stuff, I feel like you have the potential to be louder. I think once I got my quiver fixed, or before I got it fixed, a lot of my arrows that were in my quiver were kind of pinging at the bottom because of the vibration. I got that fixed. But so adding stuff can make it quieter, but can also make it.
Yeah, the accessories. So the bow itself, the bow by itself, is where it's going to be at its quietest. Okay, you can add stuff to the riser, but what you're doing is you're adding hardware and components to the bow, which gives the bow an opportunity to find a rattle. So that goes back to having it tuned, that goes back to making sure everything's tight, greased, lubed, everywhere it should be. So you got to maintain your bow. We've talked about that on your podcast before.
Yeah, for sure. So you get to hold that or do whatever you want with it. So now the new one, or the newest, First of all, this thing is crazy light. So a lot of expectations for me when I hear about a carbon bow. I've not shot too many of them, but I have shot some other brands that are carbon, and there's a lot of hand shock, there's a lot of vibration. So that's what I expect going into shooting this bow, is that it's going to have that. So of course you hope that maybe throwing on some accessories could change that. But man, I was pleasantly surprised. Here's a shot of that.
So how does that draw?
So that draw, obviously, it's still short. Gosh. That was smoother than I feel like it was smoother, and it looked smoother than the Omnia. Super smooth. I would say this is set at 70 pounds, which is a little stiff even.
I agree. Listen, just not to interrupt, but Caleb and I both here, we do feel like it's 70 pounds on that bow, that it is a little bit stiff for us.
Sure.
You know, because we do have a shorter draw. I think the longer draw you go with it is probably going to feel better, but the shorter draw, I'm not a fan of the 70 pounds.
It is stiff, so I would love to see what it would be at more of a 65 to 60 pound, but it's still super smooth, smooth locking all the way in, and so surprised with the shot that there's no vibration. I mean, you can't hardly tell you let the arrow go, which honestly was the biggest surprise for me. Like I said, whenever I thought carbon bow, I thought there was going to be a lot more hand shock and more like a, man, it's just, you don't even hardly know you let it go.
Yeah, and look, man, I'm not one of them guys that always talks about specs, but the carbon bow, you know, 31¼ inches, 7¼ inch brace height, 336 IBO, you know, but we already did a video on real world speeds, you know, with a mid-weight arrow versus a heavy arrow, which is, you know, your setup, you know, so we got a lot of performance out of that thing. But Elite did a really good job with it, man.
They killed it.
One of the things that we don't talk about a lot is the grip on the bow. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's got that V at the very top of it. You know, guys, a round grip on your bow, you're going to torque it every time.
Sure.
So they really did a good job with the way you can position your hand on their bows this year.
You might have me sold. We'll see. But they knocked it out of the park with this, I will say.
4 colors.
They, I think Elite's going to sell a lot of them. This is a super solid bow, so.
Yeah, I'm already selling them over the phone, sight unseen, guys. I have guys calling me. I had one guy call me from Missouri. I had a guy call me from Indiana. You know, I had a guy in Illinois, you know, and they're going crazy over it with the height. But the great thing about it is the bow is performing to the expectations that Elite put out with the marketing. It's doing exactly what they said it would. And
nothing against people that do that, but I'm not going to buy a bow that I've never shot.
I never would either.
So, I mean, I was on the phone with Tyler as soon as I heard about the bow coming out, and we've been in contact. So he got it last night, so we came up first thing this morning, so I want to get my hands on it. But
yeah, guys, look, and it's not a cheap bow. I'll just throw that out there for you know, your audience, man. It's an expensive bow, but the carbon process to make these bows is very lengthy and it's very expensive. They're not price gouging with carbon bows, guys. There's that much material in these bows that is that expensive. It's just part of it. So if you want the benefits of the bow, you're going to pay for it. I mean, it's just the bottom line. It's not for everybody.
Well, and one of those benefits that we talk about, and it's true, and there's a reason you notice my bow has the hand wrap around it, is because I like to have my bow in my hand as much as I can when I'm in the woods. I hunt a lot of really tight spots, a lot of thickets. So by the time I see deer, they're within 30 yards. You're not going to get away with turning around and grabbing your bow. At least I'm not good enough yet.
You're still hunting from tree saddle?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah. The regular tree stand and tree saddle. But regardless, you're not getting away with that much movement. So I like to have the bow in my hand as much as I can to be ready. And start getting into those colder temperatures. You know, the Mathews, that's why I put the hand wrap on it. I think I'm going to patent like a hand warmer hand wrap. Don't release that part. But it's more tolerable to hang on to that bow longer in those colder weathers.
Carbon's warm to the touch, man.
Carbon just stays warm. So, which I can't say for experience, but from what they say, they stay warmer. I still would probably put a hand wrap on it just because I like that cushion. It's comfortable for me.
I think you like the bigger grip.
I do like a bigger grip.
Your hand, because from watching you shoot and your shooting style, it seems the bow balances in your hand better. Because even watching you shoot this, I can see a difference in your hand movement versus what you do on your Vertix.
Yep.
You know, again, it's got to fit.
Sure.
That's the whole point to accessories.
Yep, so I can't wait. I think Tyler said he's going to dress one of these out in more of a hunting rig setup.
Yep.
So once he does that, man, I'm going to throw some arrows through it, and I might have to order an all black one with white strings or white Patriot strings whenever they get that in, and we'll see though.
And guys, look, man, I can tell you right now, if you're wanting either the Omnia or the Era, and you give me a call, guys, I'll throw in a free set of custom strings for any one of Devin and the other bluetail bow hunters. You know, the guys that are listening to this podcast and follow these guys. First of all, they're all law enforcement, which we love and respect. That's how I met these guys in the first place. They came to
We arrested him.
warrant at my house. No, just kidding. But anybody that calls and gets these ordered, I will throw in a custom set of strings, colors of your choice, high performance strings, best material on the market, and we'd love to put Patriot strings on your bows for you guys.
Sweet. One more thing I do want to highlight, comparison as far as weight goes. Obviously, this is probably pretty well known, but those people that hunt more private or public land typically are going farther, or people that hunt out west are hiking farther. So every ounce counts. I know that I had to. I went with a bow sling because I was tired of carrying my bow, and I sound like a sissy, but.
And you went with a 2-piece quiver for going out west.
And a 2-piece quiver.
You know?
So now I got 5 arrows compared to 3 where I was running three arrows. So that weight difference, I had to get a bow sling because I was going so far in and hiking that I had to keep switching hands, and you know how it gets. So every ounce counts. So you start getting these lighter bows and that carbon. That's another benefit.
Look, man,
so
there's lots of carbon accessories out there too.
For sure.
So there is ways to minimize weight on bows, guys. Again, carbon's a little bit more expensive than some of the other composites that are used, but you can get these bows decked out with 90% carbon accessories and minimize the weight. You know, that's the advantage.
I love it. I can't wait to keep testing it out. Like I said, when he gets a hunting rig going, see where it goes. So other than that, appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you stop by if you're in the central Illinois area or passing through. Smith Archery, what's your address?
It is 64 Village Square Mall, guys. We are inside the Village Square Mall. I know that if you Google it, it'll take you to the dollar store, which is out at the other end of the parking lot. I'm not in the dollar store. I had a guy call me from inside the dollar store and said, "Where are you at?" I said, "I'm in my shop." He goes, "I don't see you." I said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm in the dollar store." I said, "You don't see me waving at you?"
Why you gotta put me on blast like that? No. Also, the podcast, check that out if you want. Tyler's been on that at least once, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about doing some more, but stuff like this, we love this.
We talked about doing a lot of product reviews.
Yep, and this is one that obviously I wanted to get in and get on. So, nope, appreciate it. And anything else?
No, that's it, man. Come see us at Smith Archery, man. Making Patriot strings. Been making strings since 2010. Love to get you guys squared away.
Tyler, appreciate it.
Yep, thanks, Devin.
See you.